Do we know the gender yet?
Yes, it's a girl.
Then my mother-in-law, Jenny, opened her eyes and screamed.
Get abortion right now.
Huh?
For a moment, I thought I had misheard, but Jenny's eyes were full of anger, looked at me with disgusted look on. My name is Erin, and I'm a 25-year-old housewife. I met my husband at a matchmaking party after dating for a year. We got married 2 years later. To tell you a quick old story, I have been with a decent guy. I've been with guys like an unemployed gambler or a womanizer who has multiple girlfriends or a guy who gets abusive when he gets mad. My friends always tell me to call them as soon as possible. I was wondering why I had such a hard time with guys until a friend invited me to a matchmaking party. Stuart is not that handsome, but he is a salesman in a small company, has good communication skills, looks neat, and has decent manners. He is 1 year older than me. His family consists of his parents' younger brother. His father-in-law is also an officer, and his younger brother is a college student. He was just the type of man I was looking for at the time, and I thought we could have a proper relationship with. He also made a move on me, so we decided to go out. He would pay for all of our dates, but since he had gone on a few drive-in dates, I never had to drive for a long time. I never got pushed down suddenly in a rental car like I experienced before. I was happy to have the normal date had dreamed of. Then one day, Stuart had proposed a fancy restaurant with a beautiful view. This was also the proposal which I had dreamed of. Unlike my ex, who had planted a fake diamond from a claw machine game and stuck it inside a cake, which he bought at a bakery, there was a real ring in an engagement box. As for the fake ring that was hidden in the cake, it made a crunching sound when I bit into it, and at first, I thought there might be a bug in it or something. It was quite a traumatic experience for me. Stuart says, I want you to be my support system. I need you to be there for me. And I was realizing that I couldn't have a normal, happy life without you. We then got married and began our official married life as a couple. Every day, I do the housework and wait for Stuart to come home from work. Stuart has been kind to me since we married, and he takes care of me, saying things like, thank you for always good food, or I'll do the dishes. I had been unlucky with men in the past, but I was glad to have finally found someone who cared about me, so I felt like it was worth taking a chance on him. After that, no problems occurred and my normal daily life just went by. My friends who I would occasionally meet would say, Erin has really matured. She used to be a girl with blonde hair, flashy clothes. To me, come to think of it, the clothes that are the same color as my hair now actually look perfect on me. I no longer go to the clothing shop go-to and prefer simple, basic color. I guess it's true what they say about women looking and how it changes depending on whom they end up with. Even with cigarettes, I was a smoker. But now I don't want to go to restaurants unless they are non-smoking. 2 years have passed since I married Stuart, and we're still living happily ever after. If I had to complain about one thing, it would be about my mother-in-law, Jenny. It wasn't so bad at first, but after a year or so, she started asking me if I was pregnant with someone else. Every time she asked me about having children, I just brushed it off by saying that we were too busy with our careers and that we would think about it later. But after several years of marriage, her questions about having kids had escalated. My in-laws' house is a 10-minute drive from our apartment, and they frequently visit us and start talking about the kids.
I heard from the neighbors that the other day there is a good fertility clinic nearby.
Well, we don't know if we're even infertile or not.
What are you talking about? You have to find out about these things quickly. Besides, you're the eldest son's wife. You have to be aware of that.
If it continues like this, Jenny will be asking me personal life details. After feeling this way, I consulted about it. My husband agreed with me, saying, "It's true that having a child can be a blessing." Thank goodness that Stuart agrees with me. But that thought didn't last long. Right after, Stuart says, "But Mom worrying about us, so that's why she's questioning us, right?"
We should at least respond to Mom or make her worry. Let's go to the clinic next Saturday.
Stuart seemed to support Jenny more. At the time, however, I thought it's not usual to see Stuart so motivated for infertility treatments, and I should have been more grateful and trusting towards him. Then we underwent infertility tests and were told that there was nothing wrong and that we did not need any treatment. Is this correct? I am very grateful that the doctor that both my husband and I felt a little nervous, and we had hoped that our chances of conceiving would increase if we did fertility tests. And perhaps it was because we were mentally calm and not feeling rushed that finally became pregnant. My husband seems really happy that going to have a baby, and he spends at home looking at baby products on.
We should pick up some names and lists too.
Yeah.
Wow, I am looking forward to the baby. If the baby grows up, I'd like to take it to the park, maybe when I go back to my parents next time. I even tried to search for which I used with my brother.
Hey now, the baby's not born yet. Catch is still too fast.
Seeing Stuart's happy face, I naturally smiled. I was really happy that I was able pregnant. A little while later, I went to for a checkup. The doctor told me that the baby was. I told this to Stuart when he came work. He was shocked and said, "Oh."
What happened?
No.
That day, my husband wasn't listening to anything I said to him, and it looked like he was occupied with his own thoughts. Did he want a son? Well, come to think of it, he did want to play catch. Still, I don't think it was right for me to be so depressed. The baby was his own child, so he should be happy regardless of the gender. The next morning, Stuart didn't look depressed as he was the other day, and I had a normal conversation with him. However, all this time, before he found out about the gender, he had been worried. Me being pregnant and talking about our child every day, but this moment was different. Jenny came to visit me while I was going about my day, thinking that I would hate Stuart's continued interest in her own daughter.
Long time no see, Jenny.
I heard that you got pregnant. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Jenny had just recently been hospitalized with a broken leg for a little while, so she had heard that I got pregnant. This was the first time we had met to talk about it.
Oh, well done, Aaron.
Jenny was extremely pleased, and I relieved that she wouldn't be asking I got pregnant or not. Then my mother-in-law, Jenny, opened it and screamed. But Jenny's eyes were full of anger, looked at me with disgusted look on. It was at this point that I realized Jenny really wanted me to get an abortion.
What are you saying?
In my family, the rule is that the son's wife can only give birth to. We don't want a girl. Get an abortion right now.
No way. This is my child. You have no right whatsoever to decide things, Jenny.
Just get an abortion. We're going to the clinic right now.
Stop it.
Jenny was about to get pretty physical, so I hurriedly escorted her out the front door and locked it. She slams the door with a bang, say, "Be back." I left. That night, I immediately discussed Stuart, and Stuart replied in which I was to hear.
Oh, so Mom did get angry, huh? I'm sorry, Aaron, but you have to do what Mom says.
What is the best way to get rid of a cold sore?
It's our rule that the eldest sons only give birth to a boy.
I was absolutely mortified. Both Stuart and Jenny are crazy. It was disgusting that he could say unethical things so calmly to me. I thought that if we began to fight, might be harmed, so I said, I-11G clinic tomorrow. To make it look one, would go. The next morning, after seeing Stuart work, I hastily packed my bags and headed back to my parents' house. My parents were surprised by my sudden arrival, but were outraged by my story. At that time, my childhood friend, also there. Apparently, the old air conditioner house was acting up, so he had come for them. It had been a long time since we last saw each other, but I was so focused on the situation that without even a proper greeting, we decided to discuss the divorce with W, who was present throughout the entire process. For the time being, my parents, and that I wouldn't return to that house, would prepare the divorce papers, and Stuart come here to sign them. That evening, as expected, I received non-stop phone call from Stuart, so him quickly what I wanted him to do up immediately. Later that day, Stuart came to my parents' house with Jenny. The discussion between us began in room. I said, I cannot stay married to anyone who would ask me to abort the baby as soon as he finds out it's a girl. I handed him the divorce papers. Then Stuart replied, those are our family members, and it is our duty to uphold our rules, as she is married into the family. I didn't quite understand. Jenny, taking advantage of the situation, said threateningly, if you insist on having an abortion, I'll make sure you have a miscarriage. My parents were furious. An argument between my parents and began. At that moment, Jason came out of the room.
Huh, Jason? Why? Did they ask you to fix something up?
No, I was asked to wait here by your...
Who is this guy?
He's my childhood friend.
Go away, you're not family but an old ass.
I'm sorry, but I'm not an outsider.
Jason says, while handing over his card to Stuart.
Huh?
I am to be present at this discussion as a lawyer, and as an fee, I have asked Aaron's record all the conversations which earlier, on a voice recorder. What you just said is a fine thread.
What do you mean?
If Aaron continues to be in this marriage, it could definitely harm Aaron.
No, that was not a mistake. I got emotional and ended up crying.
And that's completely dangerous. You never know what might happen. If Stuart still refuses to divorce, then let's fight it out over court. Well, I think it's definitely clear which side will have the advantage then.
Stuart and Jenny turn completely pale.
If you sign the divorce papers now, amount you will have to pay will be minimum, you know. I'm only trying to proceed at peace here.
Stuart immediately took a pen and divorce papers. Then he and Jenny left as if they were running away from something. We were finally able to get rid of these people without any incident. The frightened expression on Stuart Jenny's face is so funny when I remember it now.
I had no idea you were a lawyer, Jason.
I was studying really hard, you know, especially when you're having a bad day. It can be really helpful to have someone who understands what you're going through.
Oh, I have no memories from that. My brain completely shuts down when to remember it.
After that, thanks to Jason's help, I successfully divorced and received support and a bit of alimony. This incident became known within Sohn workplace, and people around him are the cold shoulder, thinking that bad person who wants his own wife to. The same thing happened to Jenny. She lost all her trust in her neighbors. I heard that both of them spent their time feeling ashamed of themselves, but they got what they deserved. A few months later, I gave birth to my daughter. My parents were very happy about their grandchild. Then, the day before I was about to hospital, Jason came to see me.
Oh, you came all the way out here. But I thought you were at work.
I got out of the office saying I had an important meeting. Aaron, please marry me.
What?
I've been regretting it for a long. I should have had the courage to core feelings to you way earlier. I have always loved you, Aaron, since kids.
What is the best way to get rid of a cold sore?
I don't want another man to take you away from me anymore. Marry me. Let's raise the child together.
Jason.
This was when I first realized that Jason was the only one who always by my side and watched over me and accepted me for who I am. I thought to myself that if it was Jason, I was sure that everything would be all right this time. We could build a happy family together. With this in mind, I decided to marry my best friend. Now I am living happily with my son and daughter-in-law. Thank you for watching until the end. Please subscribe to our channel. See you in our next video.
So